In a quiet and humble place called Bethlehem, under a sky filled with silent stars, the story of Jesus Christ began in the most unexpected way, not in royalty or riches, but in a manger surrounded by simplicity, reminding the world that true greatness is not measured by power, but by purpose. And as the night passed and the world slept, hope entered humanity in the form of a child whose life would change history forever. And as he grew in wisdom and grace, his presence brought peace to troubled hearts and light to those walking in darkness. And everywhere he went, people were drawn not just by his words, but by the love that flowed through him so freely and unconditionally. And he spoke of kindness when the world knew cruelty. He offered forgiveness when people expected judgment. And he showed compassion to those whom society had cast aside, embracing the poor, healing the sick, comforting the broken, and reminding everyone that they were seen, valued, and deeply loved. And through his teachings, he revealed that faith is not about fear, but about trust, not about rules, but about relationship. And he told stories, simple yet powerful, that carried truths deeper than the oceans, teaching that even the smallest faith can move mountains, and that love is the greatest commandment of all. And as days turned into years, his message began to spread far and wide, touching lives, transforming hearts, and awakening something within people that they had long forgotten. A sense of hope, a sense of belonging, a sense of divine purpose. Yet not everyone understood him, and not everyone welcomed his light. For where there is truth, there will always be resistance. And where there is light, darkness often tries to rise. And despite the growing opposition, he never changed his path, never hardened his heart, and never stopped loving, even when misunderstood, even when rejected, even when betrayed. And in one of the most painful moments of his journey, he was abandoned by those who once followed him, and still, he chose silence over anger, peace over revenge, and love over hate. And his journey led him to the cross, a place of suffering that became a symbol of sacrifice, where in unimaginable pain, he showed the world the depth of his love, speaking words of forgiveness even in his final moments, reminding humanity that grace is stronger than sin and that love never fails. And though the world seemed to fall into silence as he breathed his last, that was not the end of the story, for hope cannot be buried and light cannot be extinguished. And his resurrection became the greatest reminder that no darkness can overcome the power of divine love. And today, his message continues to echo through time, reaching hearts across generations, speaking softly yet powerfully to every soul that feels lost, every heart that feels broken, and every life searching for meaning, reminding us that no matter where we are, no matter what we have done, we are never beyond redemption, never beyond grace, and never beyond love. And in a world that often feels heavy and uncertain, his story stands as a light that never fades, guiding us back to peace, back to hope, and back to a love that knows no end, inviting us to walk in kindness, to live in faith, and to trust that even in our darkest moments, we are never alone, because his presence is always near, quietly reminding us that love is the greatest force in the universe. And it is through love that we find healing, purpose, and eternal peace. As the message of Jesus Christ continued to spread across towns and villages, the hearts of many were awakened to a new way of living, one not built on fear or pride, but on humility, kindness, and unwavering faith. And people began to realize that true strength was not found in power or wealth, but in the ability to love even when it is difficult, to forgive even when it hurts, and to believe even when the path ahead is unclear. And through every step of his journey, Jesus showed that miracles were not just acts of wonder, but reflections of compassion, moments where heaven touched earth to remind humanity that they were never forgotten. And even after his resurrection, his presence continued to live within the hearts of those who believed, guiding them gently, encouraging them to walk in truth and to carry his message forward into a world that desperately needed light. And his followers, once fearful and uncertain, found courage in his words and began to share his teachings with boldness, spreading hope into places filled with despair and bringing comfort to those who had lost their way. And as generations passed, his story was told again and again, not just as history, but as a living truth that continues to transform lives even today. And in every act of kindness, in every moment of forgiveness, in every quiet prayer whispered in the dark, his presence can still be felt, reminding us that faith is not about perfection, but about trust, not about having all the answers, but about believing that we are guided by a love greater than ourselves. And when life feels overwhelming and the weight of the world becomes too heavy to carry, his words still echo softly, calling us to come as we are, without fear, without shame, and to rest in a peace that surpasses all understanding. And this is the beauty of his message. That no matter how far we wander, no matter how broken we feel, there is always a path back to hope, always a light waiting to guide us home. And as we reflect on his life, we are invited not just to remember his story, but to live it, to choose love in moments of anger, to offer grace in times of judgment, and to become a source of light in a world that often feels dark, carrying forward a legacy that is not written in words alone, but in the way we live, the way we love, and the way we lift others when they need it most. And in doing so, we keep his message alive, not just in memory, but in action, creating a ripple of faith and compassion that continues to reach hearts across the world, reminding each and every one of us that we are part of something greater, something eternal, something rooted in a love that will never fade, a love that continues to call us, guide us, and hold us, now and forever. And as time moved forward, the teachings of Jesus Christ began to take root not only in the hearts of his followers, but in the very fabric of human life, shaping the way people understood love, sacrifice, and purpose. And even in moments when the world seemed distant from his message, his words remained like a quiet whisper within the soul, calling people back to what truly matters, reminding them that life is not defined by what we gain, but by what we give, not by how high we rise, but by how deeply we care for others. And in the midst of struggles, pain, and uncertainty, his story continues to be a source of strength, offering comfort to those who feel lost and courage to those who feel weak. And it is in these quiet, unseen moments, when a person chooses kindness over anger, patience over frustration, and forgiveness over resentment, that his presence becomes most real, living not in grand displays, but in simple, powerful acts of love that reflect his heart. And even today, in a fast-moving world filled with noise and distraction, his message remains timeless and unshaken, gently guiding those who seek peace toward a life filled with meaning and grace. And when we pause, even for a moment, and allow our hearts to listen, we can feel that same love that once walked among people, still reaching out, still healing, still restoring, and still reminding us that no matter how broken the world may seem, there is always hope, always a reason to believe, and always a light that cannot be overcome. And this light calls each of us to live differently, not with fear, but with faith, not with doubt, but with trust, and not with selfishness, but with a love that reflects something far greater than ourselves. And as we carry this message into our daily lives, we begin to see that his story is not just something to be told, but something to be lived, something to be experienced in every moment we choose compassion, every moment we extend grace, and every moment we lift others instead of bringing them down. And in doing so, we become part of that same story, a continuation of a love that began so long ago yet continues to flow endlessly through time, touching lives, healing hearts, and bringing light into even the darkest corners of the world. And perhaps that is the greatest reminder of all, that the story of Jesus is not just about the past, but about the present and the future, a living message that continues to grow, continues to inspire, and continues to transform anyone who is willing to receive it, offering a peace that the world cannot give and a love that the world cannot take away, a love that remains constant, unchanging, and forever near, guiding us gently toward a life filled with hope, purpose, and everlasting peace. And as this message of love continued to echo through generations, the life of Jesus Christ became more than a story. It became a living invitation for every heart to experience a transformation that begins from within, a quiet change that reshapes the way we see the world, the way we treat others, and the way we understand our own purpose. And in a world often filled with confusion and searching, his teachings remain like a steady light, guiding those who feel uncertain toward clarity, reminding them that they are not here by accident, that their lives hold meaning far beyond what they can see, and that even in moments of silence, when answers seem distant, there is a presence gently working behind the scenes, leading them step by step toward something greater. And as people begin to open their hearts to this truth, they discover a peace that does not depend on circumstances, a strength that does not fade in weakness, and a joy that cannot be taken away by the trials of life. And it is in these quiet awakenings that his message continues to come alive, not through grand events, but through simple, everyday moments where love chooses to stay, where faith chooses to stand, and where hope chooses to rise even when everything else seems uncertain. And through this, we begin to understand that his story is not distant or unreachable, but deeply personal, woven into the very fabric of our lives, calling us to trust even when we cannot see, to believe even when we do not fully understand, and to continue walking forward knowing that we are guided by a love that never fails. And as we carry this truth in our hearts, we begin to see the world differently. We begin to notice the beauty in small things, the kindness in unexpected places, and the quiet miracles that happen every day, reminding us that we are never alone, that we are always held, and that no matter how difficult the journey may seem, there is always a purpose unfolding, always a path being prepared, and always a light ahead, waiting to lead us forward. And in this realization, we find the courage to keep going, to keep believing, and to keep loving, even when it is not easy, because we know that every act of love carries a piece of something eternal, something that began long ago and continues to grow within us, shaping us into who we are meant to be. And perhaps the most beautiful part of this journey is knowing that no matter where we are or what we face, the same love that walked the earth through Jesus still surrounds us today, still speaks to us in the quiet moments, and still calls us gently to live a life filled with faith, compassion, and unwavering hope, a life that reflects a light that can never be dimmed and a love that will never come to an end. In the quiet moments of life, when everything slows down and the noise of the world fades away, the presence of Jesus Christ can still be felt in the depths of the human heart, gently reminding us that we were created for more than just survival, more than just chasing temporary things, but for a purpose rooted in love, truth, and eternal meaning. And as we begin to reflect on this, we realize that his teachings were never meant to stay confined within words or history, but to be lived out daily in the choices we make, in the way we speak, and in how we treat those around us, especially in moments when it is hardest to do so. And it is often in these very moments, when patience is tested, when kindness feels difficult, and when forgiveness seems impossible, that his message becomes most powerful, guiding us to rise above our emotions and choose a path that leads to peace rather than conflict. And through this, we begin to understand that true faith is not about perfection, but about persistence, about continuing to trust even when we fall, about getting back up even when we feel weak, and about believing that we are always held by a love that does not change. And this realization brings a deep sense of comfort, knowing that we do not have to carry our burdens alone, that there is always a place where we can find rest, a place where we are accepted just as we are, without judgment, without fear, and without conditions. And as this truth settles into our hearts, it begins to transform us from within, softening our thoughts, calming our worries, and opening our eyes to the beauty that exists even in the simplest parts of life. And we begin to see that every sunrise is a reminder of new beginnings, every breath is a gift, and every opportunity to love is a chance to reflect something divine. And in living this way, we become a light for others, offering hope to those who feel lost, encouragement to those who feel tired, and compassion to those who feel unseen. And in doing so, we continue the very mission that Jesus began, spreading a message that goes beyond words, reaching into hearts and changing lives in ways that cannot always be seen but are deeply felt. And as we walk this journey, step by step, we are reminded that even in our imperfections, we are part of something beautiful, something eternal, something filled with grace, and that no matter how far we may feel from where we want to be, we are never far from his love, a love that continues to guide, to heal, and to restore, inviting us each day to begin again, to believe again, and to live a life filled with faith, hope, and a peace that remains unshaken, no matter what comes our way. And as we continue to walk through life, facing moments of uncertainty, challenges, and unexpected turns, the teachings of Jesus Christ remain like a quiet compass within us, gently guiding us back whenever we feel lost, reminding us that even in the most difficult seasons, there is still a purpose unfolding, even when we cannot fully understand it. And it is in these moments of waiting, of questioning, and of searching that faith begins to grow deeper, stronger, and more rooted, teaching us to trust not only in what we can see, but in what we cannot. And as this trust grows, so does our ability to face life with courage, knowing that we are never walking alone, that every step we take is seen, every tear is known, and every silent prayer is heard, and through this awareness, we begin to find strength in places we never expected, a strength that carries us through hardships, lifts us in moments of weakness, and reminds us that there is always hope beyond what we feel in the present. And as we reflect on his life, we begin to notice that his greatest lessons were often shown not in moments of ease, but in moments of sacrifice, patience, and unwavering love, teaching us that true greatness is found in humility, that true power is found in gentleness, and that true victory is found in choosing love even when the world chooses otherwise. And as we begin to live by these truths, something within us starts to change. Our hearts become softer, our minds become calmer, and our lives begin to reflect a peace that others can see and feel. And in a world that often rushes forward without pause, this kind of peace becomes a powerful testimony, a silent message that speaks louder than words, pointing others toward a hope that does not fade. And as we carry this light within us, we begin to understand that we are not just receivers of his message, but carriers of it, called to share it through our actions, our kindness, and our compassion. And in doing so, we become part of a story that is still being written, a story of redemption, of healing, and of love that continues to reach across time, touching lives in ways that cannot always be explained but are deeply felt. And perhaps in the end, that is what makes his story so powerful, not just what he did, but what his message continues to do within each of us, shaping us, guiding us, and reminding us that no matter where life takes us, there is always a path back to peace, always a reason to keep believing, and always a love that will never leave us, a love that remains constant, steady, and true, leading us forward one step at a time into a life filled with faith, purpose, and an unshakable hope that carries us through every season. And as the journey of life continues to unfold before us, there comes a quiet realization that the message of Jesus Christ is not something distant or unreachable, but something deeply present in every moment we live, in every choice we make, and in every breath we take, gently reminding us that even the smallest act of love carries a meaning far greater than we can see. And as we begin to slow down and truly reflect, we start to notice how his teachings are woven into the very fabric of everyday life, calling us to respond with patience when we feel rushed, with kindness when we feel hurt, and with understanding when we feel misunderstood. And it is in these simple yet powerful responses that his presence becomes alive within us, shaping us into people who reflect light in a world that often feels heavy with darkness. And as we continue to grow in this understanding, we begin to see that faith is not just something we hold onto in difficult times, but something that transforms the way we live every single day, guiding our thoughts, influencing our actions, and filling our hearts with a peace that cannot be shaken by circumstances. And even when we face moments of doubt, when questions arise and clarity seems far away, his message gently reminds us that it is okay to not have all the answers, that faith often grows strongest in uncertainty, and that trusting the journey is sometimes more important than understanding it. And through this trust, we begin to experience a deeper connection, one that goes beyond words, beyond logic, and beyond what we can fully explain, a connection rooted in love, in grace, and in a presence that never leaves us. And as we carry this awareness into our daily lives, we begin to notice a shift within ourselves, a quiet transformation that changes the way we see others, the way we respond to challenges, and the way we approach each new day. And instead of being overwhelmed by the pressures of life, we begin to move with a sense of calm and assurance, knowing that we are guided by something far greater than ourselves. And in this understanding, we find the courage to keep going, to keep believing, and to keep loving, even when it is not easy, even when the path feels uncertain, because we know that every step we take in faith brings us closer to a life filled with purpose, meaning, and a peace that goes beyond understanding. And perhaps the most beautiful part of all is realizing that this journey is not about reaching a perfect destination, but about growing, learning, and becoming, allowing his message to shape us day by day into reflections of the same love that once walked the earth, a love that continues to guide, to heal, and to restore, inviting us to live with open hearts, steady faith, and a hope that never fades, no matter what comes our way. And so, the story does not end with a historical account or a distant memory. It continues in the very breath you take and the quiet decisions you make when no one is watching. We often search for the divine in grand displays, but his presence is most real in the simple, powerful acts of choosing patience over frustration and forgiveness over resentment. It is a reminder that your life holds a purpose far beyond what your eyes can currently see. Even in the silence, when answers seem distant, there is a grace working behind the scenes, leading you step by step toward something greater. You may feel broken, or perhaps you feel the weight of the world is too heavy to carry alone. But the beauty of this message is that no one is ever beyond redemption or beyond the reach of a love that knows no end. He never alone, and you are always held. Walk in that confidence today, knowing that the same love that changed history is the same love calling you home, now and forever.